Hi, it's your girl Candi G, Evolve Nation. I'm here in West London at the Bush Bash Recordings headquarters. I'm sitting down with MC Bushkin, one quarter of the trio Heartless Crew.
Yes, Candi. Well, go on and like the little intro there, you know. Yo.
Okay, so today I'd like to discuss with you, your stance in the music scene and becoming a CEO and, the situation today with London and our young black boys.
Yeah, man, that's good. Yeah, man, far away, man. I got lots of talk figure them, sir. Yeah, man.
So first of all, just give us a bit of background into about who Bushkin is and where his journey from music to CEO.
Okay, yeah, some of you may know, or if you didn't, I'm 1/3 of the trio Heartless Crew. We're essentially a sound system. We started in North London, playing at like local community centres, house parties. Then went on to nightclubs and stuff like that. Then we joined the radio station, and we got popular playing garage music, house and garage, probably in the mid to late 90s. Then we went on to produce a tune and had a bit of success with that. We were signed to a major record label in the early 2000s as well. And yeah, man, we've enjoyed a lot of success, like playing as a DJ MC trio up and down the country and all over the world, really and truly. I know that journey there led me on to setting up my own record label. I mean, like I said, we were signed to a major record label, I think in 2001 or I think 2001, 2002. At the time we spent with the record label, to me, it wasn't really too enjoyable. And after that, when we kind of parted ways, I kind of vowed, you know what, if I get the opportunity, I'm going to set up my own record label. And yeah, hence the reason I did Bush Bash Recordings, the label by the artist for the artist. Because when I was with that label there, I just realised, you know what, it was just all about business. There weren't any love involved, you understand? They didn't really take any active interest in us and what we was really about and what we was trying to do, you understand? So yeah, I thought to myself, you know what, it just kind of put man off record labels in that way. So I thought, you know what, let me do it myself, you understand? And things my mum used to install into me, do unto others as you like, you understand, done unto yourself. And I thought, yeah, that's why I called it the label by the artist for the artist. Because as an artist myself, I know how artists should be treated, how they should be looked after, and I know what I like, you understand, when I go to certain gigs, you understand, when I'm performing, you understand, how I like to be treated. So yeah, man, if I can flip that back for them, yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
It said that the business model is an all black record label.
Yeah.
Explain that.
Yeah. I call it the UK's #1 black record label. People might say, oh, well, how are you the #1? But I don't know any other black record labels, you understand? So we are the #1 black record label, unless there's others out there, you understand?
But as a black record label, what is the main goal for that? What's the objective? What's the message you're giving out?
It's just to show that we can do it, you understand? We've got to take pride in ourselves, ultimately, you understand? Like, to me, being the first black record label, people are going to look onto us, you understand? It's a beacon of light, you understand? Black is very often shown in a negative light, you understand? In the media and just in general, it's very, you understand, when people say black, it's very negative, you understand? So I want, when people hear the word black and associated with this record label, it's in a positive way, you understand? Because we're destined for big things, you understand? And we're out there. Ultimately, what the record label is here to spread love and vibes and happiness through the power of music. It just so happens that I'm black, you understand? So it's a black-owned business. But I want people to know that and to be proud, you understand? I want people to be proud of being black. A lot of time people are kind of, even as black people, you might go on the train or, you understand, certain places in public, and when you're talking about black or you're talking about ourselves, you're kind of quiet and you're kind of a bit sheepish, you understand? I don't want that, you understand? We're supposed to be proud of ourselves because we're the essence ultimately.
What is the reason you feel people feel so uncomfortable talking about black or racism in general?
It's just because it's shunned, and it's just, you understand, it's made to feel uncomfortable, you understand? It's a bit tense, you understand? And a lot of the time the truth hurts as well, you understand? So people don't like, it's just like, even two black people talking, if you're talking to your friend and your friend might have something around their mouth or something like that, you might feel uncomfortable saying it, you understand? It's just same like that, but just on a much bigger scale. And remember, this has been going on for years, many years. So that You understand? That kind of awkwardness, it's been going on for so long now, it's become almost natural. It's almost natural to kind of, well, you don't want to talk about black too loud or say anything too loud, or even certain time you don't even want to be too black, you understand?
Yeah. And would it be fair to say that you've experienced racism during your career in the creative industries in music?
Yeah, definitely experienced.
Could you give us an example of one?
I mean, again, a general, you know what, a lot of these stuff is quite negative, so I don't really like to home in on too much stuff because I'm quite a positive person. And again, it's not about, to me, it's not really necessarily going over some of these things. It's just about being the change you want to see in this, leading by example. But I mean, a general example is, again, around the early 2000s, and when Heartless Crew was that proper, you may say really around the peak of our success. They started to clamp down on all the events, and you couldn't put on any black events, and we couldn't play in any clubs and stuff like that. And then they started to bring in this 6ix9ine sixth form or something like that. And again, it was just targeted at black and ethnics, you understand, just to make it difficult for us to earn money, you understand, and to put on events and stuff like that. And it was just, but again, forget the like racism in the music industry. There's just bare racism all around anyway.
So could you give us an example of racism that you may have encountered growing up in London and how you've overcome that, you know, to get to where you are today in your career?
I mean, to overcome it, I'm just a very resilient person, and I ain't taking no for an answer anyway. So, I mean, I'm always going to overcome as long as I'm living and breathing. You understand? I'm on a mission. You understand? So I can't afford to let anything, you understand, i.e. racism or anything else kind of slow me down. Yeah, so it may be able to slow me down, but it's definitely not going to be able to stop me. And I mean, it's just a typical. I mean, ultimately, this is a country that's been built on racist foundations.
Definitely.
So it doesn't make sense to me saying this thing or that thing. You know, and again, I'll just cut it to the bottom line. The country itself has been built on racist foundations.
Because you're from North London, right?
Yeah.
Are you
from that Hornsley, Archway,
okay,
Holloway, Cali, all
so
those kind of areas.
Growing up, it must have been tough in those areas. Growing up,
tough. I mean,
as a young black man, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same old story. You're targeting more by the police. Yes, and from school they say you got to work twice as hard to make it. It's the same kind of story. But again, saying how tough it is and stuff like that, it's a perception, and it's in your mind, really and truly. Yes, it's slightly more difficult, but if you want to succeed at something, you're going to succeed ultimately. If you don't, you won't. You understand? It's just one of those kind of things. And
perception's a good word which you brought up, because in regards to black people, especially when they're trying to get in, say for example in the creative industries like yourself when you was younger in the music, there's a perception on black that's on the race. So again, that's what, in my opinion, kind of gives us the blockage for moving forward.
Definitely, yes. There's definitely a negative perception on black people all around the world. But the funny thing is, it's like it's a weird one, because everyone actually really loves us. You understand? They actually love us. You understand?
Yeah.
Because they know we're the essence and we're the vibe. You understand? So they really love us. But sometimes what happens is people love you so much they hate you. You understand? Because they want to. I was
going to ask you that.
They love you so much. You understand? They wish they could be you. And everyone's got jealousy in us, you know, whether you're black, white, or anything in between, you hit me.
So I was going to ask you, like, how as black people are we so, like, we're creatively inspiring to the whole world, but yet we're, like, so hated. What is that about?
Yeah, man.
Socially hated, shall I say?
Yeah, people, you know, again, like I say, it's when you really love something, and there's a thin line, as I say, between love and hate, and everyone loves us, but again, it's like, when you... Everyone's got it in them. It's just how you let it affect you, and if you're going to let it override you and overrun you. But we've all got all these emotions and feelings in us, and jealousy is one of them, you understand? And a lot of people are jealous of us because we are cool, you understand? We can do these different things, you understand? We're great, you understand? But again, it's just for people to celebrate and to love us, and you understand, and not bad mind it, you understand? That's all it really boils down to. I mean, what Heartless Crew did, like I said, essentially we're a sound system. We fashioned ourselves off of Black Cat, Stone Love, these kind of sounds. Renaissance, these are people we was listening to back in the days, you understand? The artists, Supercat, Tiger, Cutty Ranks, you understand? And we took that element there and, you understand, mixed it up with the house and garage at the time, you understand? And kind of bring a complete different vibe.
Just
So
moving from the jungle kind of.
yeah, and we bring a little bit of the jungle flavour, you understand? The way we used to MC as well, we bring the jungle flavour. And it was just a mixing pot of everything. We used to, again, that's a good thing about being British, or not being British, growing up in England or in London or in Britain, you understand? The good thing is, it is a mixing pot. Everyone is about, and you get a different flavours of everyone, you understand? So we put all those flavours together into Heartless Crew. And yeah, man, we tried the jungle thing. We didn't kind of pop off there, but in the garage, timing wise, it worked. And yeah, what we did with the garage, we started to mix in bashment and slow down certain rhythms, and the way we was MCing, we bring all the little flavors over, and it just infected everyone. All the people who used to listen to like garage, they was like, wow, this is something different, it was fresh. And people who like the bashment man, them who weren't into garage, they didn't care about garage, you understand? They were like, wow, this is something different, we're on to this, you understand? And yeah, when we come into the garage scene, it was very, just like you said, you understand, predominantly white, and like the MCs were kind of behind this, you understand, behind the scene. We kind of changed it, and we bring the sound system element into garage, you understand? And you understand, we started to mix the tunes a lot faster. Fonty would do different things. He'd be slowing down rhythms. Obviously, we was playing on records sometimes there, so he slow tunes down, you understand, like half the time. And yeah, man, just kind of vibes it up, and we just started to play garage as a sound system, which hadn't and wasn't done then. But what it done, it just made it very accessible for everybody else. People who listen to bashment could now get into garage. People who listen to hip hop, all the other scenes, it kind of, we united them in a way through garage music. And kind of just made it very popular again, and then it changed the face of garage. Yes, and even that kind of bordered on to grime. We understand, because essentially what we was doing then is what people now call grime, you understand? So again, I mean, yes, we did start grime in a way. We didn't name it, you understand? But yeah, we definitely, it wouldn't be.
Gave birth to that kind of sounds, the elements for it, and
yeah,
the drill and everything.
Yeah.
Well. What is your opinion on the drill music?
Again, I don't want to be too negative about any kind of music. I mean, it's the music itself is quite a negative thing, you understand? But again, it's the young people now, and obviously that's what they're dealing with, and maybe that's what their experiences and going through at the moment. So yes, that's their culture and kind of what they're working with. I mean, to me, I'm a bit older now, you understand? So my spin on it would be, you know what, yeah, you can say these things, but you don't have to glorify it, you understand? If some of these things are what you've been through and whatever, then cool, mention it by all means, it's your story, you understand? But you don't need to necessarily glorify it and gas it up, because music is very powerful, you understand? So people are going to listen to it. Not everyone is going to follow through with what you're saying, but there's definitely going to be some people that follow through, you understand? So you can't blame the artists themselves, but again, it's for everyone to take responsibility for themselves, you get me? But I mean, even having said that, I don't even want to speak too much about these other people, whatever. Like myself, again, I'm here to lead by example. I'm setting up my own record label, you understand, so I can push and pervade the music, you understand, out there, and you understand, and ultimately vibe people up. And like I said initially, spread love and happiness through the power of the music.
And like where you're saying about the freedom of speech messages that you put into the music, like with the other day with what happened with Wiley and him getting cut off social media, I mean, how do you feel about that? And has it made you think twice about what you say on air, in public, and etc.?
I don't think he was like, he got he got a raw deal. I definitely think that it was unfair. I'll say that much. But at the same time, life isn't fair. You understand? So, and then I don't know too exactly what he said and what he didn't say. You know, I'm not too clued up on exactly what he said and what he didn't say. But I do know you have to be careful of what you do say. And this is old school stuff that my mum told me again. You have to think before you speak.
But would you think it's a bit like going back to, was it Shabbat?
Yeah.
Was it The Words? Do you remember?
I remember that.
The Words.
Yeah.
And that kind of ruined his career.
Yeah.
Would you say it's the same thing? So if you're talking about certain subjects that certain higher people don't really like or want to answer to, then that's the repercussions.
Well, obviously, it is, because this is what happened. This is what happened. This repercussions. But I mean, this is the good thing about life. You've got living examples. So Shabba would have been an example to Wiley, but Wiley never necessarily saw that example or followed through with it. So now Wiley will be an example to someone else. If you understand, if you're thinking of doing these type of things, it all depends on what you want to do as a person.
Because look at the Beatles, that's another example. They made a statement that they were bigger than Jesus, and after that, they didn't get to tour again.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's a bit like,
so this
it's not really colour specific, is it subject specific?
Yeah.
Topic specific.
Ultimately, you have to be very careful of what you say. You have to think before you speak, and you have to be careful. Again, it depends what you want to do. If you're trying to be a martyr, and this is what you want to do, then by all means, say anything you want. It doesn't really make a difference because you don't care. I don't know why, because I've not spoken to him since all this. I haven't spoken to him for a very long time. So I'm not too sure what he was trying to do. Hopefully, what he was trying to do, he achieved it. Because one for me, I always think about the result that I want from something. So then that it helps me to envision what I'm trying to do and what I would say and what I wouldn't say, because I think of the result I'm going for. But some people don't necessarily do that. And again, like I say, I'm not too sure what Wiley was trying to do. I do know he loves social media and all these type of things. So I doubt he was trying to be cut off from social media. And if he wasn't trying to do that, then he's made a mistake that he has to go back and rectify and kind of look into again.
Okay.
Yeah.
And while we're on social media, with your own branding, what direction are you going with your branding? Because with your business, I see you're going all out. Like, you've obviously got the events, the music. I see you do some condoms the other day.
Yeah, that's right.
A few different little products every now and then you're putting out. You've got the fashion line, is that correct?
Yeah, I've got some clothes coming and stuff like that. And just starting small and thinking big, and again, like the stuff I try and do, try and put a little bit of thought into it and a bit of quality ultimately, so the condoms, it's like peace, love and pum pum,
which is one of your long time slogans.
It's a phrase and a slogan that I use, and again, some people get it twisted, but peace is peace, love is love, and pum pum, vagina, pussy, whatever you want to call it, is ultimately reproductive system. So it's peace, love, and life, really and truly, and again, the condoms, and again, it's for people like the slogan and stuff like that. But the condoms, again, the thought behind it is there's a lot of diseases flying around and stuff like that, and a lot of people, especially in the black community, are having children and not following through and looking after them. And there's a little mix up there, So the condoms that are promoting safe sex as well, and also unwanted pregnancies, because you know what, we all want to have fun and stuff like that, and there's nothing wrong with having fun, So if you're going to have fun, you may as well use the right precautions to it, And again, if you can buy the condoms and promote, we're all helping each other, and this is what we need to all do to grow, you get me?
Okay, and your vision for your Bush Bash recordings, for the label as well, what is your vision?
I'm trying to build something like Motown. Again, like I spoke earlier about examples, So Barry Gordon is a very good example to me, because he built a label, but with the label he had, he cultivated the artists, He spent time developing them, which is something I think is missing these days.
Definitely.
Record labels just want to pick up someone who's already made and hot, and they've got numbers on social media and stuff like that.
And they've cut out the budget for
yeah,
artist development and things like that.
Yeah, but I'm homing in on that, because to be honest with you, that's where it's really at. That's what's going to give artists longevity, and homing in and practicing your craft, practice. Not just anyone can put out tunes these days, But half the people are putting out tunes, they can't even perform the tunes that they're making. So my thing is, let's get the performances right. Let's practice. Let's build up an archive of tunes before we even try and step out.
You're taking it to the grassroots.
Yeah,
going
building up. Yeah, that's right. Exactly. But again, to me, this is just the way it should be done. But everyone's different. So this is my idea about doing things. It takes very long. It's a very slow process, very painstaking process, especially when you're working with lots of artists, because everyone's got their ego and stuff like that. But again, if it's something you want to do, again, you'll do it. And this is what I want to do, because it's the way I think it should be done.
And where do you see the culture of UK music going now at the moment, currently? Where do you see it going? Where's it at, in your opinion?
It's a very good question. I've not really thought of that. I mean, UK music is very popular at the moment, right around the world and stuff like that. So it's at the height. It's been in probably all the time that I've been around, and this is probably the peak of it. Which is good. There's obviously things that could be improved with anything, but again, I'm setting up the label, and the little shortcomings that I can see, hopefully we can fill those voids. You understand? And
what are
and
those
lift it up.
voids that you'd like to fill?
Like, one of the main things is like performances. I think that our music now is stepped up and it's like equal around the world with Jamaicans and the Americans. You understand? Our lyrical capability and the tunes and even the quality of the tunes, that mixing and mastering wise, you understand, we're on a very similar part all around. But what we're lacking is performances. You understand? Like, our artists over here still haven't grasped that actual star quality artist type thing, and this may come from the fact that they're not taking the time to develop themselves and, you understand, practice. You understand? So that to me is definitely one of the shortcomings, and it's something that I'm looking into and hoping to
So
amend.
with, like, say, the genre of like UK hip hop, for example, would you say that's lost in the underground?
At the moment, it's a scene. You understand? You keep on talking about the house and garage, but it was a house and
Because
garage
it had a scene.
Yeah,
You're correct in
and
saying
that makes it much more powerful. Drill hasn't really got a scene. Grime has got a little bit of a
glad you
scene,
said
but
that.
it's
a
not
nice
a
way of
really
putting it,
a scene, so to speak. Like Bashment has got a scene, but it's very small and quite isolated. You understand, in the UK, and then you got the underground hip hop. It's got a scene again, but it's very small. You understand? Like garage at that time, like when we burst it, you understand, because the way we've done it, it kind of it included everyone, so the scene became very big, and it was a big scene. So from here to Birmingham to Manchester to Plymouth to right all around the UK at that particular time, everyone was into the house and garage scene. You understand? But that's not really been done back since then. You understand? And again, this is a thing about control and power. You understand? Maybe people don't necessarily want that to be running again, because again, it puts a lot of power into the people, and people don't often want the people to have power like that.
Bush, in today's state of how London is in the UK, how do you suggest that we get our power back as Black people?
Okay, well, first things first, the power, we've got the power, and we never really lost it. We never really lost the power, you know. We've always had the power, and we'll always have the power. But I mean, ways where we can continue to build the intent and get stronger is ultimately communicating, you understand, more honestly and directly with each other. You understand? That men have to be men, we have got to communicate as men, and you understand, likewise women, and then Black men and Black women have to work together. You understand? That's where the real power is, that essence there. You understand? We have to bring that together. You understand? And then that borderlines onto families. You understand? Because as they say, charity starts at home. You understand? So we've got to build up from each.
A lot of the families are kind of broken as well for a lot of these young people.
Yeah, well, then that's what I'm saying, why we need to talk, because even if you have a child with someone, you don't necessarily have to be together, you understand, to communicate and to raise them, and you understand, to show a unity, you understand. So it starts with the thought first, you understand, and then communicating to each other properly, you understand. Because people say communicating, but communicating properly and effectively, you understand, directly and honestly, you understand. It's different than just communicating. Communicating from the heart and the mind. You see, sometimes you ask me questions and I take a little while to think, because I want to make sure that what I'm saying, it connects with my heart and my mind. I just want to. Sometimes you say something to someone and they say, yeah, quickly, and they haven't really thought about their answer. You understand? So we have to communicate properly and think what we're really saying, think what result we really want to get. Okay, once we start looking back and building up the family unit, you understand, whether we're together or not together, you understand.
Would you agree in saying there is a breakdown, though, especially for our young Black boys here, with all that?
There's definitely a breakdown.
And do you believe that's part of the issue of what's causing an uproar for them? Inside?
Yeah, it's definitely part of the issues. Like, there's lots of issues and lots of pressures, you understand. But like, I mean, you asked me something earlier, and I was going to say to you, you asked me something about young people, and I was going to say, one of the things that's helped me along the way is having a good support network around, and a good, like, strong family, you understand? So that is very, very important, you understand? Having a good support network and a good, like, family system around you. People who, you understand, like me, I'm out and about all week. Weekend, like Sundays in particular, I would always go to my grandma's house, and it's like, that will just be a refueling, you understand? They'll just fuel me up, you understand? Back there, I'm normal, you understand? There's no street name or nothing like that. It's, you understand, back down to basics. It's like, it's really important to have a good support network around you. And then the other thing is just building up, you understand, like helping to build each other, you understand, building businesses and building brands and supporting each other, you understand. So we can, you understand, like fund and support ourselves, because sometimes we're looking elsewhere and, you understand, expecting people to do stuff for us, when ultimately, you understand, it's for us to kind of help and build up ourselves, you understand, and get onto that level, you understand. Once we're on that level, then, you understand, whatever. It's not that we're refusing help from anyone else as well, but it's like we're not trying to, you understand, we shouldn't be out there trying to beg on, you understand, saying, this person is doing this and got to do this or whatever, you understand. We've got to just build up ourselves, you get me?
Definitely, and that's some good talks and positive talks from you, Bushkin. I really appreciate that. So, just to wrap it up with yourself, could you just tell us what's coming forward, what we got to look forward to with your music, what's coming from Bush Bash Recordings? You got any new artists?
Yeah, man, I'm working with a good few artists at the moment. Sweet Pea, we've just done an album together called Man Enough. And again, the album is like it's a honest conversation between men, yes, and we're talking about our feelings, and it's like talking about stuff men wouldn't necessarily normally say, yes, and so
give us an example of something that a man wouldn't necessarily.
Just in general, men we're kind of standoffish, and we're not necessarily going to overly express our love, you understand? Or if we're with a partner, you understand, sometimes you hold back, and certain times you're supposed to say a little something, you understand? If you feel it, you understand? But sometimes you may feel it, but you're still not going to say it because we're men, you understand? And we're standoffish, you understand? So the album's like it's very expressive, you understand? It's very emotive, you understand? And for that reason, females have connected with it really well, even guys as well, you understand?
And you went for that American vibe with that as well, right?
Actually,
that American kind of R&B swing kind of.
Yeah, it's an R&B type thing. I mean, we didn't actually go for an American vibe. I mean, R&B generally is probably American. So it's got that kind of influence on it, but it's our
when
take on it.
When I say I'm like that old school kind of.
Yeah, it's definitely got an old school R&B kind of 90s vibe of it, you understand? So it's good, easy listening, with a message basically. I mean, so that's one project. Look out for Sweet Pea as well. He's got his own music, likewise myself. We're working with Mimi Monroe, Black Rose, Jurassic, O'Milly.
So you got a variety.
Quite a few artists, yeah. Space Boy Paul. Yeah, working with a good few artists basically. Renee, Bianca. And like I said, we're just kind of cultivating, and there's power in numbers, man, and unity is strength. So we're building up a nice little team basically.
And have we got anything to look forward from yourself, Heartless Crew?
Yes, I mean,
I know there's no events going on at the moment.
Yeah. There's no events, but I mean, we're going to be putting out lots of music. We've got a video dropping.
Heartless Crew?
Weeks. No, not Heartless Crew.
Oh, okay.
This is myself and Sweetie. But Heartless Crew, we're on BBC Radio 1 Extra every Sunday.
Okay,
between
brilliant.
7 and 9, you understand? So you can catch our show weekly every Sunday. We've actually been given like 2 extra hours. So this week we're doing 7 to 11 as well.
For the bank holiday. So it's going to be a mazza.
Carnival
Great.
thing. Also we're doing 2 online shows for Supermalt and Island Records.
Okay. And do you want to let everyone know where they can get the link for that as well? Is that going to be on your social media?
Yeah, if you follow me on Instagram, MC Bushkin, then you'll get all the stuff there. Follow me anyway. Like I always keep people updated, my stories and stuff like that. So yeah, man, there's loads going on, man. We're about to start painting the town red. We're going to put out a lot of videos, and yeah, man, we're just creating our vibe, man, and our energy, putting it out there, man, and spreading love. Ultimately.
Yeah. Well, Bushkin, thank you for your time, and I've enjoyed your company, talking to you, and your energy is just out there.
No, man, love, man.
Yeah,
respect,
big up
man.
Yourself, big up the Bush Bash team, and we look forward to hearing more from you.
No, boom, yo, you don't know this is me, MC Bushkin, MC Bushka, MC Bush, walking the paper stacker, saying, listen, me and you may get a bungle, girl. Me and you are loving at the jungle, my girl. Some stinging in your back like a bomber, my girl. Chuck it 2 times, make you stumble, my girl. Go on to hype, you have to humble, my girl, like an apple. Bet you I go crumble, my girl, all the airing. Poof, but fumble again. Me no me go, so me not go mumble again. Watch ya now, make me come back again. 2 bull, not for railing a 1 pen. Kiss me neck back, yo, you better than ling, better than the whole of them. Where? Come on, the girl, thicker than flame. Come tell me if you chill, me will give you children, call it creeping in a bed. Me and her friend like a creature. Listen, like 5 in 10. My gosh. Bush Bash Recordings. Chase. Boom, you don't know this is me, MC Bushkin, MC Bushko, MC Bushman, the gal, saucepan. Just endorsing Level Up. I'm here with Candi G, and it's absolutely good, you know. My gosh.